The first thing I saw was red and blue lights bouncing off the windows of a house I owned. The second thing I heard was my ex-girlfriend screaming my name like it was a crime. "That's him!" Vanessa shouted, pointing at me with a shaking hand. "He's been following us. He won't leave us alone." I stood on the sidewalk in Beverly Hills, hands slowly raised while 2 police officers stepped between us. Neighbors were already outside. Phones were out. Someone was filming. Someone else was whispering. I could feel the heat of judgment before anyone even asked me a question. Behind Vanessa, her new boyfriend stood with his arms crossed, leaning casually against a black sports car that probably cost more than my first apartment. Designer jacket, perfect haircut, that confident little smile men wear when they think they've already won. One of the officers looked at me and said, "Sir, why are you on this property?" Before I could answer, Vanessa cut in again. "He doesn't live here," she said sharply. "We do. He just shows up. He's obsessed. Obsessed." That word landed harder than I expected. I looked past them at the house. The lights were on, curtains open, the same front door I had signed for, the same porch I had approved the renovation for, the same driveway I had paid to have repaved 6 months earlier. The officer sighed, already tired of me. "So you're trespassing," he said. I shook my head slowly and spoke as calmly as I could. "No, officer," I said. "I'm not." He raised an eyebrow. "Then explain why the residents say they don't know you." Vanessa laughed, not nervous, not confused, confident. "Because he's lying," she said. "He always does." Her boyfriend finally stepped forward and lowered his voice, just loud enough for me to hear. "Take the hint, man," he said. "You lost. Move on." I felt something cold settle in my chest. Not anger, not fear. Clarity. I turned back to the officer and said the one sentence that changed everything. "Sir," I said quietly, "this isn't their house." The officer frowned. "What?" I met his eyes. "It's mine." For a second, no one laughed. Then Vanessa burst out. "Oh my God," she said, shaking her head. "You hear this? He's delusional." The officer let out a short laugh too, like he'd heard it all before. "All right," he said, "we'll sort this out." As he reached for his radio, I realized something that made my stomach twist. This wasn't just about being dumped. This was about how easy it is for people to decide who you are when they think they know how much you're worth. Before all of that happened, before the police lights and the silence, my life looked very different from what people thought. Most people saw me as average. I drove a simple car. I wore simple clothes. I never posted flashy photos online. That was on purpose. I learned early that money changes how people treat you, so I kept mine quiet. I work in real estate, not the loud kind. No billboards, no Instagram videos. I buy houses, I fix them, I rent them out. Over time, one house became 5, 5 became 12. Some were luxury homes, some were regular apartments. I owned properties across Atlanta and nearby areas, with most of my time spent around Marietta and Buckhead. But I lived small. That's when I met Vanessa. We met at a small get-together through mutual friends. She was beautiful, confident. She laughed loud and talked fast. She asked what I did for work. "I'm in real estate," I said. Her eyes lit up for half a second. Then she asked, "Like sales?" "Something like that," I answered. I didn't lie. I just didn't explain. Over time, things started to change. Not all at once, not loudly, just small shifts. Vanessa began noticing things she had once ignored. My car, my clothes, the way I carried myself. At first, she joked about it. "You dress too basic. You should upgrade your look. Don't you ever want more?" I laughed it off. But the jokes didn't stop. They turned into comparisons. She'd show me photos on her phone. Other men, flashy cars, expensive dinners. "Look at how he lives," she'd say. "Don't you want this kind of life?" I wanted to tell her I already had it, but I didn't. Vanessa cared deeply about appearances, about being seen, about looking like she was winning. Her social media changed first. More photos, more captions, more nights out, less time for us. That's when Derek entered the picture. From the outside, he looked put together. He talked confidently about where he was headed, but sometimes he explained too much. How things were in motion, how deals were almost done, how the timing just wasn't right yet. Vanessa didn't notice, I did. She didn't introduce him right away. She mentioned him casually. "He's really ambitious. He thinks big. He knows how to enjoy life." Each comment felt harmless on its own. Together they formed a message. I wasn't enough. The breakup didn't come with yelling or tears. That was the strange part. She sat across from me, scrolling through her phone like this was a conversation she had already finished in her head. "I feel like I've outgrown this," she said. "Outgrown what?" I asked. She sighed, annoyed. "I want more presence, more energy. I work hard," I said quietly. "I know," she replied, "but it doesn't show." That sentence stayed with me. Then she said the part that hurt the most. I need a man who looks like he's going somewhere. Looks. Not is. Looks. Within days, Derek was everywhere. On her social media, on her arm, in her captions. Expensive meals, flashy photos, smiling faces. People noticed. Friends went quiet. Some avoided me. Others didn't bother hiding it. One person laughed and said, she upgraded. Her family changed too. Her mother unfriended me. Her brother blocked me. Someone later told me her mom said, he was just a phase. A phase. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I stayed quiet. Then came the moment that made everything clear. Vanessa sent me a screenshot by mistake. It was meant for her friend. At least Derek looked successful. She apologized right away, but she didn't need to. The message had already landed. A few weeks later, something strange happened. I got a message from my property manager. Hey, he wrote, new tenant moved into the Buckhead house. Everything looks good. My heart skipped. I asked for the name. He sent it. Derek. I stared at my phone for a long time. Vanessa had dumped me for a man who was now living in my house. The irony almost made me laugh. But then the betrayal hit deeper. That Buckhead house wasn't cheap, the kind of place people use to prove something. She didn't just choose him. She chose the life she thought he had, and that life was built on lies. Still, I said nothing. I didn't raise the rent, didn't warn anyone, didn't interfere. I wanted to see how far the lie would go. Then came the final insult. One evening, a mutual friend told me something that made my stomach turn. Vanessa had said I was obsessed, that I couldn't let go, that I was probably stalking her online. She painted me as weak, desperate, dangerous. That was when I realized something important. She wasn't just done with me. She was rewriting the story to protect herself, and she didn't care who she hurt to do it. A few days later, I drove through Buckhead to check on another property nearby. Out of curiosity, I slowed down near the house Derek rented. Their house? Her car was there. So was his. I parked across the street for a minute. Just a minute. Then Vanessa stepped outside. She saw me. Her face changed instantly. Fear, anger, disgust. She pulled out her phone. I didn't know it yet. But that call would change everything. That was the moment she decided I was the villain. And the moment the truth started pushing its way to the surface. I watched her talk, pointing at me, her voice sharp even from far away. Then she stormed back inside. A few minutes later, Derek came out. He looked at me like I was dirt. He walked toward my car, slow and confident. Bro, he said, leaning down, what are you doing here? I'm checking on something, I replied calmly. He laughed. Yeah? Looks like stalking to me. I didn't answer. He straightened up and smirked. You need to leave. Now. I'm not bothering anyone, I said. That's not how she sees it, he replied. Then he turned and went back inside. I sat there for another minute, then decided to leave. That's when I saw the police car. Lights on, pulling up behind me. My stomach tightened. I pulled over. The officer stepped out and asked for my ID. While he checked it, Vanessa rushed out of the house. She was crying, pointing, talking fast. That's him, she said loudly. My ex. He won't stop following me. People started watching. Windows opened. Phones came out. Derek stood behind her, arms crossed, enjoying the scene. The officer came back to me. She says you're trespassing and harassing her, he said. I'm not, I replied. Why were you parked here, he asked. I told him the truth. I own property nearby and was checking on it. Vanessa laughed out loud. Oh my God, she said. Listen to him. Derek stepped in. This is my house, he said proudly. He doesn't belong here. The officer looked confused. Sir, he said to Derek, do you own the house? Yes, Derek answered quickly. I stayed quiet. The officer turned back to me. Sir, do you have any proof you're allowed to be here? I took a breath. Yes, I said. Vanessa rolled her eyes. Here we go, she muttered. I own this house, I said clearly. The street went silent. Then Vanessa laughed harder. That's a lie, she said. You're pathetic. Derek shook his head. Officer, this guy is unstable, he said. She broke up with him and now he's hanging around. The officer held up his hand. All right, he said. Let's slow this down. He looked at me again. Sir, if you own the house, we can verify that. I know, I said. That's why I called my property manager. I pulled out my phone. Vanessa's smile faded. You called who? She asked. My property manager, I repeated. She stepped closer. Stop lying, she snapped. You don't own anything. I didn't respond. A few minutes passed. They felt long. Derek started pacing. Vanessa whispered to him, her voice shaking. Then a car pulled up. A man stepped out with a folder under his arm. He walked straight toward us. The officer met him halfway. Can I help you? The officer asked. Yes, the man said. I manage this property. Vanessa blinked. Derek froze. The man looked at me and nodded. Sorry I'm late, he said. I brought the documents. He He handed the folder to the officer. The officer opened it and began reading. Vanessa leaned in, trying to see. "What is this?" she asked. The officer didn't answer right away. He flipped a page, then another. Finally, he looked up. "Ma'am," he said slowly, "this property is owned by an LLC." Vanessa crossed her arms. "So," she snapped. The officer looked at me. "And this man," he continued, "is listed as the owner of that company." Silence. Vanessa's face drained of color. Derek took a step back. "That's not possible," Vanessa whispered. The officer handed the folder back. "Sir," he said to me, "everything checks out." Then he turned to Vanessa. "Ma'am, he is legally allowed to be here." Her mouth opened, but no words came out. In that moment, everything shifted. The silence after the officer spoke felt heavy. Vanessa's mouth was still open, but no sound came out. Derek was the first to react. "That's not true," he said quickly. "There's no way." The officer looked at him calmly. "Sir," he said, "the documents are clear." Derek laughed, but it sounded fake. "This is some kind of mistake," he said, turning to Vanessa. "Babe, you know this isn't real." Vanessa didn't answer. Her eyes were locked on me. Not angry anymore, not proud, confused, shaken. "Tell them you're lying," she said quietly. "Please." I didn't raise my voice. "I'm not lying," I said. The property manager stepped forward. "I've worked with him for years," he said. "He owns multiple properties across the city." The officer nodded. "I can see that," he replied. Derek's confidence started to crack. He pulled out his phone. "I have a lease," he said. "I pay rent." The officer held out his hand. "May I see it?" Derek hesitated, then handed it over. The officer glanced at it and sighed. "This lease is valid," he said, "but it's under the same LLC." He looked up at Derek. "Which means," he continued, "your landlord is him." Derek's face went pale. Vanessa took a step back. "No," she whispered. No. She turned to Derek. "You told me this was your place." He didn't answer. "You told me you bought it," she said louder. "You said you were building something." Derek rubbed his face. "I was going to," he muttered. The neighbors were fully watching now. No one was recording anymore. They were just staring. The officer cleared his throat. "Ma'am," he said to Vanessa, "you accused this man of trespassing." She looked at the ground. "I didn't know," she said weakly. The officer nodded. "I understand emotions are high," he said, "but making a false report is serious." Her eyes filled with tears. "I was scared," she said. "He was just standing there." I finally spoke again. "I was parked across the street," I said, "for 1 minute." The officer looked at me. "Do you want to press any charges?" he asked. I shook my head. "No," I said. "I just want this to end." The officer nodded and turned back to Vanessa and Derek. "I suggest everyone take a breath," he said, "and handle this privately." He handed the documents back to the property manager. Then the police car left. The street felt strangely quiet. Derek broke first. "This is crazy," he said, forcing a laugh. "Man, you could have told her." I looked at him. "It wasn't my job," I replied. Vanessa stepped toward me slowly. "I didn't know," she said again. "I swear." I looked at her. "You didn't want to know," I said. That hurt her more than yelling ever could. She started crying. "I thought you were small," she said. "I thought you were stuck." I nodded. "That's what you saw." Derek interrupted. "So what now?" he asked. "You gonna kick us out?" I turned to the property manager. "Give them the standard notice," I said. "Nothing extra." Derek's mouth dropped. "Wait," he said. "You're serious?" "Yes," I replied. Vanessa turned to him sharply. "You lied to me," she snapped. "You told me you owned everything." "I didn't lie," he said defensively. "I just stretched the truth." She laughed bitterly. "You don't even own the car, do you?" He didn't answer. She looked back at me, tears running down her face. "I made a mistake," she said, "a huge one." I stayed quiet. "I judged you," she continued. "I thought you were nothing." I met her eyes. "That part hurts," I said honestly. She nodded, crying harder. "I'm sorry," she said. "I was wrong. I was stupid." Derek stepped back toward the house. "This is between you two," he muttered. She didn't even look at him. She took another step toward me. "Can we talk?" she asked. "Please." I took a breath. "I don't think there's anything left to say," I replied. Her face broke completely. "I miss you," she said. "I want us back." The words hung in the air. I looked at the house again, then at her, then at myself. "I loved you," I said, "but you loved the idea of wealth more than the person in front of you." She sobbed. "I see it now," she said. "I really do." I nodded slowly. "But seeing it now doesn't change what you did," I said. She covered her face. The neighbors began going back inside. The moment was over. The truth had done its work. I turned and walked back to my car. Behind me, Vanessa called my name. I didn't turn around. Some lessons come too late, and some doors close forever. I sat in my car for a long time after that. I didn't turn the engine on right away. I just stared at the steering wheel and breathed. What happened didn't feel like a victory. It felt heavy. I didn't feel proud. I didn't feel happy. I felt calm. A few days later, Vanessa called me. I didn't answer the first time, or the second. On the third call, I picked up. Her voice was quiet, not the confident voice she used to have. "I messed up," she said. "I know that now." I didn't interrupt. "I judged you," she continued. "I chose someone based on how things looked, not who they were." I stayed silent. "I lost something real," she said, "and I see that too late." I believed her. That was the hardest part. "I'm sorry," she said, "for everything." I took a slow breath. "I forgive you," I said, "but that doesn't mean we go back." She cried softly. "I hoped you'd say that," she admitted. "But I understand." After that call, we didn't speak again. The eviction process went quietly. Derek moved out without much noise. The flashy car disappeared. So did the stories. Life caught up with him. As for me, things went back to normal. I checked on my properties, met with my managers, lived my quiet life. Nothing changed on the outside, but inside, something did. I learned that hiding your success protects you, but it also reveals people's true values. Vanessa didn't leave because I lacked ambition. She left because she chased appearances. And that taught me more than any argument ever could. Now, when I meet someone new, I don't rush. I watch how they treat others, how they talk about money, what they admire. Not what they say, but what they choose. I still drive the same car, still dress the same way, but I walk a little lighter because I know who I am. And I don't need flashing lights, loud words, or fake wealth to prove it. Some people only see value when it shines. Others see it when it's real. And that difference? It changes everything.